With today's products, human life began to end decades earlier. Few people think about the composition of their purchases, and in general over purchases in general. And is it worth it now? Maybe there's something left on the store shelves that we can safely eat. Let's look at the harms of food in general and evaluate the one most frequently consumed and at the same time incredibly secretive and harmful. Let's go. Let's start with the fact that, of course, now eating all the following we have no one diet and it will not be bad. We will talk about products that over time violate certain function of your body and therefore harm only after a certain time, but believe me, they will not make themselves wait long. First, we are talking about salt that violates the water balance, creating prerequisites for the appearance of edema. Its excess in food increases the concentration of sodium, which disrupts the structure of blood vessels. Their walls become thin and brittle, blood permeability decreases, the speed of unconditional reflexes slow down. Next in line, sugar, which does the brain a disservice by eventually reducing the sense of joy caused by serotonin. It turns out a vicious circle. Sugar is required more and more, and the pleasure of sweets is less. There is an increase in the number of cakes and sweets. Reducing the proportion of sweets can use prolonged depression, so don't bring the body to a generous point. Fatty fried meat in large quantities increases the risk of formation of cholesterol plaques on the walls of large and small vessels. This increases the risk of stroke and lead to the development of atherosclerosis. Harm is reduced at times if together with a meat dish to use a large amount of leafy greens, including parsley, coriander, dill, onion feathers. Chips and crackers are the leaders in the content of trans fats, like plasticine clinging to vessels. They are difficult to remove, and with regular use of these products, the receipt significantly exceeds the output. Milk and white chocolate combines sugar and flavorings, which does not correspond to the original recipe of delicacy. Real chocolate is produced in small batches and is very expensive. In hypermarkets it almost does not appear. The implementation goes through specialty stores. If you don't have the strength to give up your favorite delicacy, then you should go to the dark and bitter types of it. Let's talk in more detail about the same delicacy consumed by everyone every day, a delicacy that is necessary for life and at the same time has become so dangerous now. We'll talk about meat and products made on its basis. Even the World Health Organization, for all its not infallibility and passion for silencing or agitation of some facts, was forced in 2015 to recognize that modern meat products are cancerogens, no worse and no weaker than asbestos or arsenic, which lead to cancer. Who recommends reducing the amount of meat consumed rather than improving its quality? Today, who does not hide that bowel cancer, which occupies the second place in developed countries, second only to breast cancer, is provoked by meat food. However, then there is a slight distortion of the problem. Who refers to the Chinese studies, which in 2008 published the results of a study confirming that bowel cancer was more often registered in children from wealthy families, whose diet was dominated by meat. Neither the Chinese nor the Europeans nor the Americans say that a pure randomized experiment was conducted in at least one country in the world in which patients were fed environmentally friendly products. It is simply stated that there is an increase in the incidence of gastrointestinal cancers, and this fact is associated in minds of the public with the consumption of meat. The conclusion to which the WHO experts lead us is that meat consumption is artificially inflated. Let's reduce it and eat plant foods, but everyone knows for sure that modern tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbage and greens are completely stuffed with nitrates and superphosphate, which also cast great doubt on their safety. What doses of meat should we eat to cover our needs and not overdo it? 2 decades ago, scientists recommended that we eat 150 grams of meat. Now suddenly lowered this bar to 45 grams. Why? The transition to semi-finished products from low-quality meat is unacceptable from the point of view of sensor alertness, but a 45-gram meat ration is also capable of to bring to the poor condition of almost any man. We offer to look at the problem from the point of view of banal iron deficiency anemia, or rather its prevention. Myoglobin contained in meat is an ideal source of iron for humans. Neither parsley nor apples can give a person a daily need for iron in the most digestible form. In the intestine, iron can be absorbed about 2 mg. 100 grams of beef contains 2 and 8 mg of iron, but only 20% of the eaten iron is absorbed from other products and even less. Thus, even 100 grams of meat per day is not enough to prevent anemia in a healthy person weighing 80 kilograms. What can we say about 45 extra grams? Now, industrial production of meat products is primarily a business. Production of sausages and sausages with the loss of mandatory state standards has become a wide field for experimentation manufacturers. Every manufacturer not burdened with moral cleanliness or forced to compete in the modern market tries to reduce the cost of production to a minimum. Uncontrolled additives in meat products. Modern sausages and sausages contain no more than 2–5% of meat. Instead of a mixture of beef and pork with a no percentage of liver is unknown that is abundantly mixed with soy protein and floured with spices of all colors and styles, among which there are many additives. That is not only that with the abolition of strict standards for production, everyone adds them to the products at their discretion, but also often perfumes and flavor enhancers, masked to put it mildly, the mediocre quality of the meat product. This list can be continued for a very long time, but let's try to figure out how we can reduce the risk of meat products. Don't buy ready-made meat products, cook yourself at home from fresh meat. It is better to refrain from pork, choose beef, lamb, turkey, chicken, rabbit, nutria ideally if you know a farmer. Avoid eating meat and poultry offal. To minimize the amount of harmful substance in the meat after purchases, it should be soaked in water for at least 30 minutes. And only then cook or freeze. Cook chicken broth only from poultry. When preparing the soup, first let the meat boil for 5 to 10 minutes, then drain the water and pour again, all ready for cooking the broth. This is how the situation around our food is developing now. If you agree with us, then put a like to this video and write what mark we didn't mention here. We hope the video was useful for you and you learned something new for yourself. If so, subscribe to the channel, be sure to put a bell so as not to miss our next release. All the while,